Hi, welcome you all. Today we are here for a very important topic, and the topic is how to get industry ready. It's really an important topic for all the career aspirants, whether you are a student or already you are working. But we all want to know how exactly to become industry ready or market ready. We know that today the world is really confronting disruption. There are a lot of challenges and uncertainties in every field, but still, we all have to remain positive and upbeat. We all have to make sure that how we can prepare ourselves, how we can always condition our skills, and how we can make sure that we are really updated with the latest information. And that's why PMA has made an initiative to bring up this wonderful topic in front of you all. And I'm sure with this opportunity, we would come to know that what actually one should do to upgrade or to update and upskill in the present time. So today, for this, we have some very important people from the industry and academia. We have some very good speakers who are really going to highlight on these issues, and we would listen to that, and we would definitely understand that what exactly one can do to update, upgrade, and upskill for the current market. Today, we have already seen that there are so many uncertainties around after the pandemic time. We are basically finding that there are a lot of challenges in the job market, but there is also at the same time a lot of opportunities. We have seen that people are really very much unsure about the job after the advent of AI. People are really afraid that it might happen that all the jobs will be wiped out. Let me give you a fact that it has been said that 65 million new jobs are going to be created with the advent of AI. So we have to make sure that how we can really make friendship with the technology, how we can use the innovation, because we have to understand the technologies to empower ourselves and how we can equip ourselves with this new technology. So if any new technology has come, we definitely have to know that how exactly we are going to utilize that. So all these things we are going to learn in today's session. So without wasting much time, we would quickly go into our session, and I'm sure you're going to love this interactive session, and we'll continue this initiative of Career Talk. And please don't forget to like share with your friends. Once this session is over, I'm sure we would basically be available in YouTube, so please be watching this information, and I'm sure if you have more information, go and share your comments and feedback, and let us know that what are exactly the new topics we would like to listen. So let's connect with our today's session and see that what exactly our speakers are going to say. Hi, all of you. It's really been an honor to organize this show. It's a PMA initiative, as basically we do every Saturday to make sure that we pass on the knowledge and we really help people with some positive thoughts, of course, some ideas, some inspiration and motivation. And as usual, we have kept our promise. We are back with one more interesting topic today. Today's topic is how to get industry ready. I'm sure like everybody wants to know that how to become industry ready. That is really an important thing today, because for more and more job opportunities coming in the market and a lot of disruption, we can see that the disruption across the world. Post pandemic, the situation is very uncertain for us. We really don't know that in which direction to go, but at the same time, job opportunities are there, but at the same time, we can see there are threats as well, like artificial intelligence, like robotics, and of course, new challenges, new technologies. Are we really in a position to adapt these technologies? Of course, we are going to know all these things from our guests today, and what kind of things we should do to really cope up with these disruptions, because we can see there are a lot of geopolitical changes happening, a lot of socioeconomic changes happening, newer technologies emerging. And of course, as usual, there is a complaint from the industry and academia that there is a gap. Or is there is a gap, or if we are really worked on that gap, how exactly we are trying to ensure that we can really minimize this gap, or we can join hands between the industry and academia, and we can see that this marriage taking really reasonably and strategically, and people are finding good opportunities, because that is the ultimate objective. So in this show, much without much wasting of time, I will straight away go to introduce my honorable guest today. We have Mr. Abhijit Giri, who is basically a very important person, and I'm really happy that he has found the time to be a part of this session today. He is basically the director of CDC, CLL, and Outreach Alumni Program for Adamas University. And also, there is an institution called as RICE, which is basically preparing students for the competitive and the government examinations. So he is one of the important guests today, and he would be shedding more lights on the relation between an industry and academia, how exactly we can really know, or we can really spread the awareness to help the students to become industry ready or job ready, which is very important. And along with that, we have our second speaker today, Mr. Shrey Joshi. He is a like a budding star. Actually, I should say that he is basically having so many things to say. But then, in short, I can say that he is actually a young entrepreneur who basically has worked in so many MNCs so far. He has basically worked in companies like Amazon, Sony, okay, and of course he has been working with companies like Wilzai, Netambit, and so many more. Of course, he has so many things to say, but of late he has also started his dream entrepreneurial journey with his childhood friend, as I heard, and he is basically going in that journey. Of course, he will give us some more information on that. And the name of his organization is Corporate Soldiers. So the name itself is going to give you an idea that how exactly Shreya Joshi is a part of that, and from the ground zero to the highest level of success, how this journey has been. So of course, we'll listen from Shreya today. And with that, I come to our third speaker of the day, Mr. Sanjit Basu. Mr. Sanjit Basu himself has been an inspiration for people. He has been connecting with masses, working as a catalyst, being a trainer, always being very right on his path, always inspiring as a language trainer, as a soft skill trainer, and he is always connecting with industry and academia both. So I think he is a man who's between the roads. So he's a neutral guy. So he can also shed more light on this topic today, that how exactly the missing link and how we can really improvise that and how we can really become more industry ready or market ready. And we also have our listeners today, Mr. Leonard, Mr. Jack, Mr. Arrow. Mr. Arrow is a legal head. Mr. Leonard is basically HR and as well as a language trainer, foreign language trainer in French. And Mr. Jack is also an entrepreneur from Kinshasa. So we also have a student, Mohana. She's actually from Calcutta. So I think we would be joined by so many people. So we are all interested to listen what exactly goes further. So I would request our honorable guest, Abhijit sir, to begin the session.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Das. All esteemed speaker today, you have already introduced Mr. Basu, Mr. Joshi, and all different guests and audience from the different part of the world. I really appreciate, first of all, for taking up these initiatives. I think at this moment of time, if you honestly look at, it's not today. If you look at our student time, let's go back about 2 decades or 3 decades back. I think during that time also the hot of the topic and the topic that always discussed in any industry and academia forum, just in front of any, I would say that any institute or higher education institute, and the topic was that industry is looking for people, but the higher education institute is not able to provide the right skill set of the people. I mean, since then, it is not a new term, I mean, if you go back 30, 40 years before also, the term was there. Industry academia gap, essentially, it is not, I don't think it is actually going to be, reduced. It is not going to be, zero. You cannot make it zero. This gap is essentially going to be, and I don't think this gap is bad. This gap is always give a challenge to the academia to take it up and give a challenge to the academia to work on this gap and probably to fulfill. Uh, it is important at this moment of time that both industry and the academia no more should work in the isolation. I think if you go back 10, 20 years before, there was an approach of working in the isolation. If you really talk about some premier institute and premier organization, they used to cooperate each other. For example, in Indian context, if I may say in this way, Tata used to work with only IITs and IIMs. If I may put in this way, probably Reliance would like to probably work with only IITs, IIMs, to some extent in NITs and all. I think that approach essentially need to change for the greater cause of the socio-economy function. And thereby, my thought here is to how both the party, industry and academia, can collaborate and work together, probably to reduce this domestic gap. I would like to put this gap is not an industry academia gap. This is mostly, I will be termed like a domestic gap. So if you can really work, because why I said it's a domestic gap, if you really look at the product that institute is offering, the graduate who are going to come out from the institute, essentially they are going to be the entry, they are going to be the part of the industry tomorrow. So something that institute is actually going to offer to the industry. So essentially this is a domestic transaction, something that I'm producing, somebody of my hand is going to take it up. So I would like to put it a domestic transaction. So let's work together so that we can actually reduce this gap, the domestic gap, and probably we can extend our hand beyond this so-called renowned or rather recognized top-notch higher education institute. Because need of the hour is not to focus on that higher education institute like IITs, NITs, Oxford, Cambridge, and all. They are always there, but now demand towards the industry, towards the requirement of the industry, should also essentially need to extend the hand to the institute like Tier 2 institute, Tier 3 institute. Probably, I would probably put it in this way: the hands should be extended to even the different cities, not only restricted to the top cities or metro cities. It should extend it, the institute belonging to the Tier 2 city, Tier 3 city, so that what will happen is we can create an ecosystem that both industry and academia both jointly can create an ecosystem where the coming generation, who are actually going to contribute to the economy of different countries and overall global economy, they are going to be benefited out of this, this thing. I think this kind of session essentially is going
I want to ask you a question here.
Yeah.
You have rightly said that the collaborative approach is more important. And I'm sure you are really working in that sphere. I can also tell the audience today that you are really working on a very interesting subject. That is the PhD work. I've seen that how you are basically helping that the youth is going to adapt the technology, and particularly you are doing it for West Bengal. So what is your understanding that how much the students or maybe the youth is really receptive for this new technology? Or maybe if I talk about AI, are they really getting themselves updated, or they have the right direction that in which path they should go?
See, technology is the use of or application of technology in each one of our life, including students' life. Mm-hmm. It is unavoidable. You can't simply avoid this. But important is we should teach and we should nurture the student community, because technology has both sides, If you would like to use it in the positive way, you can use it in the very positive way. If you would like to use it in the very destructive way, you can always destruct it through the technology. There is a scope of that. So the idea is that we should use the technology. You can't stop using the technology, and we should also encourage the students to use the technology. but not at the cost of, not again at the cost of their self, innovation,
Mhm.
self, I would say, thoughtful skill. I
Okay.
can use AI, I can use Chat GPT to get something as a information. But how am I going to, make a, make a cook out of, dish out of this,
Hmm.
information? That's up to you, and that should come from my own brain. That should come from
Right,
my
sir.
own innovation. That
Mhm.
should come from my own thought.
We would
Yeah.
like to
So
take on the next
technology
speaker,
here.
sir, because since we have to
Yeah.
make it more interactive, I would basically invite Mr. Shreya, who is basically an active, the disrupt technology guy, who basically is working on technology. He's working on digital marketing. He's working in LinkedIn. He's creating waves in LinkedIn. So I think he has more information on that. So I invite Shreya, since he's working in the technology sphere, what exactly are your understanding? If you can go with a quick introduction and if you can go ahead with this.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Das, and really the ideas of Mr. Giri are actually really relevant to the current topic, and he's rightly said that there should be a coordination and correlation between current ecosystem of our education plus what industry is looking after. And I really second on his thought regarding what he have given on the topic that Tata's primarily looking only for IITs and only the top tier colleges are getting the advantages for some good companies in India like Tata's and Reliance. But since now this is a digital age and now the things are changing, entrepreneurs are coming from tier three cities, tier four cities. So yes, this is an century of change, and if we are not adapting the change which is going around in the field of technology, then we are lagging behind. I can give you many examples where I have personally see encounter in the current industry space in companies like Amazon or in Sony where the persons from tier two and tier three cities, and they are not from tier A colleges. They are at the top notch positions. They are guiding the people. This is
Now,
all
now,
about
now the, here the question, Shrey,
attitude of a person.
I just want to come in. I just want to ask you here, like as you
Okay.
said that in the tier one and tier two people are coming up, as well as we can see people are coming from tier three cities. Now the question comes like,
Yes.
for a student fraternity, when they are really coming out of this academia,
Mhm.
they are basically expecting to get jobs. In fact,
Okay.
their their mentors and the professors are working hard to get them industry ready, right? So
Hmm.
what exactly is like the missing gap?
Okay.
And where you, because you have seen industry, now you are an entrepreneur, you have your own company, so where you think like the things are missing, and what exactly are the areas which you would like to highlight, which we can work on?
Okay. Okay. A very relevant question, Dr. Das. So nowadays, what is happening? Parents think if his child is there in a some business college or doing some professional course, he will get the job. But the things are changed. It's all depend on his on the person's current current attitude, whether the guy or the girl in the college itself preparing according to what industry is required today. They just think that they got the admission. Now the entire responsibility is of the college. Then they will give them placements, so it's their responsibility. So it's not like that. Even in my college there were 1400 students from different streams like marketing, finance, HR, and I have come across the situation where 50% of those students are remain unplaced, and it's not they are not
Yeah,
they
yeah, I
were
just
not
want to
the
give you one data which I was recently going through, which
okay.
says that from the technology field, if I really talk about India, almost approximately
Mhm.
75 to 80% of the students remain unemployed.
Hmm.
So that is the situation today. And though we are understanding that the technology is booming, there are a lot of opportunities, but why we find that so many people are still so is there something we are not working on the employability of the students? So what exactly
So
you think?
it's okay. So let me take this data. Previously, the education, the number of colleges are also very less. Now, with the coming of, now the colleges are also increased. So the base is also increasing. It's all depend upon supply and demand. If we have to create more entrepreneurs, more job opportunities in India to get them employable. It's not all the fault of the students or the parents or at the time. It's always there is a law of supply and demand. If there are 100 companies 100 years back in India, and now there are almost 100 right now. So
Let me let
whether
me
you will pass
quickly
out from
let me quickly come back to Mr. Abhijit, because from his
okay.
experience, because he is a person who has seen both MNCs, industries, and also in academies. So I think from his experience, what do you think, sir, is like the challenge when you are talking about placement of the students and to get them industry ready?
Fantastic. I mean, see the idea, let me tell you one point. If you really look at, I mean, from the context of India, let me put it in this way. Probably then you can, move to the globally.
Right.
From Indian context, since the time India got independent, the gross enrollment ratio was less than 10%. See, there are a couple of points I will highlight. Gross enrollment ratio in the higher education should have been somewhere around 8%, 7% during the time India got independent. Today, the gross enrollment ratio has increased to somewhere around 28% to 30%. It means the more number of students are getting graduate and they are looking for opportunity to contribute in the economy. That is number one. On the other side, while we are all talking about industry, talking about technology, if you look at in last 2 decades or 3 decades, you will find out the average lifespan of the technology is reducing. And today the average lifespan of technology is not more than 3.5 years to 5 years. Earlier, the lifespan of the technology used to be somewhere around 7 years to 10 years. But now the lifespan of technology is reduced to somewhere around 3.5 years to 5 years. So as a whole, what is happening, and it is going to be reduced more, maybe it can come down to even 1.5 year, 1 year or so.
So
what is going to happen
is that there are going to be frequent disruptions. There will be more and more disruptions.
So here is the context. Here is the context. When a student is taking admission in a particular, let's say, BTech program or MBA program or law or somewhere, they know at the time of admission, some of the technologies are very prominent, very locked in demand in the industry. But in the passage of time, when they are becoming graduate, the technology is no more, probably relevant in the industry.
Correct.
Something else has come. So what is happening?
What exactly we are doing to make sure that we are always updated?
I'm just coming into that point.
Okay.
I'm coming into that point. So what is happening during this, looking at this scenario, industry requirement in the two contexts. One first context is the context of domain or context of subject knowledge. However, industry never expect the context of subject knowledge should be something like a scientist. Industry never expect that. Industry expect somebody should come with a fundamental strong, so that they can be trained, they can be retrained, because industry knows the kind of training they got in the college is not going to be applicable in the life. Exactly. If only the fundamentals are good, then they can be trained. So my submission to the student, if anybody is here and all, I'll ask them to focus more on clearing and getting your fundamentals strong. That is number one. Second one is industry more focused on the behavioral skill rather than I would try to talk about the domain skill, because domain skill anyway can be trained or can be taught, but the behavioral skill cannot be taught, cannot be trained overnight.
Exactly.
I can make an engineer in 3 to 4 months. I can remember my college time when after PG, when I got a job, I was not a great student. After getting the job, in the organization, I asked the interviewer, asked the client. I said, "Is everything fine in your organization? Because you are selecting people like me. It is really a challenge." I mean, he said a very beautiful thing. He said, "Abhijit, I can make engineer in 3 months, 4 months maximum, because the kind of skill training is required. But I cannot make an entrepreneur mindset. I cannot make a professional employee in 3 to 4 months until unless the behavioral skill is in the right place."
Thank you, sir.
So organization put a lot of
I
focus on.
would basically like to turn the discussion to one such gentleman who is waiting for his turn, and he's from the behavioral
Correct.
skill domain. He's Mr. Sanjit. So, Mr. Sanjit, if you can just highlight more on that, and we are just closing near to this discussion, no problem. We'll jump into the next meeting link, but we'll listen to Sanjit. So, how Mr.
Yes.
Sanjit is really finding this behavioral skills is important, and how exactly we can go ahead with that. You are on mute, Mr. Sanjit. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, before I start, I would like to thank PMA initiative, particularly Mr. Primanku Das, for taking such wonderful initiative, so that we can come together, we can discuss such wonderful topics. And I'm also really thankful to this. So basically, you see, I have been in this field for the last 25 years or 23 years, and I am into education, where I handle a lot of students basically. And I would like to say something from the students' point of view, what I see in them. Today we are discussing about a subject that how we can make somebody, industry ready, and what is the problem in them. So what I have seen in the last, you can say, 5 or 6 years, just before the pandemic and after the pandemic. If we talk about before the pandemic and after the pandemic, just after the pandemic, there was a big, hue and cry that there was a less opportunity in some jobs. There's a big crisis, and just after again, 2-3 years, there is a boom in the industry. There is a lot of jobs are coming, new technologies are coming, and again there is a big, hue and cry, as there is a lot of new technologies are coming in the last 1 year, like AI, automation, and robotics. So now people are getting more afraid that there will be a lot of job cuts. But what I feel, from my perspective and from my experience, that jobs are there, but the right kind of people are not there, as Mr. Abhijit Giri said. There is no job scarcity. There is no job insecurity. So what we need is that we need to develop right mindset, that so that people are, that students or the job seeker can get adjusted there. And I would like to point out few points that where we can fill the gap. First of all, the thing is that we need to embrace the change. Changes are there, change is constant. If we talk about one thing which is constant, that is a change. Change is going to happen. One cannot say, no, there won't be any change. So one has to embrace the change and work on that change, that what kind of changes are happening and what kind of skills are required. And accordingly, he or that job seeker has to develop himself. Second point is that where we miss maximum is that we all invest money just below the neck, I should say. Below the neck, we all invest. But here we don't invest much to develop our mindset, to develop our brain. So what I would like to say that we need to invest more here. Here in the sense, we need to get new skill. We need to learn new skills. We need to go for seminar. We need to go for workshop. So there we have to develop ourselves. And once we develop ourselves, jobs will come to us. No need to go for the job.
So Mr. Sanjit, we would like to know, in terms of behavioral skills, what exactly are the things people should learn, like soft skills, or how they should enhance their communication or public skill ability, like as you are a public speaking teacher. So what exactly are your tips for our audience?
Okay. Yeah. So now one thing is that soft skill is very, very important. I should say, there was a survey conducted in Harvard University. I think
Mhm.
you all might have know this. Like they conducted one survey, and they found that when a person gets a job, it is because of 85% of the time because of his or her attitude
That's
or
right.
the soft skills, and only 15% is goes to technical skill. So
True.
there we need, so there we have to focus on developing the soft skill, like how to express, how to speak, how
Mhm.
to conduct with the colleagues. Because this is where we need to give more focus. As Mr. Giri said, that one can be taught the technical skill within 3 or 4 months, but soft skill or public speaking skill or communication skill cannot be taught overnight, cannot be taught in 3, 4, 6 months. It needs time, it needs perseverance, it needs patience.
So,
Only
so
then one can.
you were saying that from the formative years we should now start giving stress on that. I'm sure Mr. Giri, Mr. Shea will also agree on that.
Sorry.
I'm saying that from the
Come again.
formative years of the student, we should work on the soft skill so that we can enhance their behavioral skills and
Completely.
all.
I'm completely apt on that. I'm completely agree on that. Actually,
Right.
a soft skill is something, behavioral skill something that should actually start from the formative, setup.
Mm-hmm.
And on the
Absolutely.
other side, I also would like to add one point. See, today, uh, probably the parents are also mostly responsible for that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I just would like to compare why I'm again and again comparing 20 years before, 2, 3 decades before, and now. It's very important. The reason is, during our time, the many things that we need to earn. You know, I need a branded shirt, and for that I have to wait for my birthday, probably a year, knocking my father to ensure that during my birthday I will get a branded shirt. You
True.
know, I would like to get a brand. But today, my daughter who come to me and say, "Look, I mean, Dad, I need a branded shirt. I need to go to shopping mall, maybe pantaloons, maybe somewhere." And she will pick up a branded shirt, and I mean, we are so emotional that we should actually, so that
Exactly.
earning attitude is lost
True.
here. The patience, the earning attitude is not there. It's a giving attitude, and getting attitude has come in. I think that is also a part of very important soft skill behavior that should comes from the foundation. I mean,
Mm-hmm. So I think
fundamental,
Shreya has a point. So Mr. Shreya wants to come in. Mr. Shreya, please.
So one thing I would like to add here, yes, Mr. Giri is totally right. Also, there is one more point where nowadays students don't want to move out of their comfort zone. Previously, I saw
Exactly.
people, they want to do job anywhere in the country just for the job, and
correct.
nowadays they just want job behind their homes. I used to a lot of interviews, and many people did not take up the job just because the company is away from his home, even in the same hometown. I find these kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So yes, comfort zone are getting shrinkier day by day, and we, if the person don't have this kind of attitude, so there will be always he will remain unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
I think absolutely right. I mean, I just want to add one point. I mean, we should not blame to student. We have made their habit like this. They are not going out of the comfort zone to take up the job opportunity while
Mm-hmm.
they are looking for job. The reason being, from the formative time itself, we are making
Mm-hmm.
them so comfortable zone for them. Parents are responsible for that. I am responsible. I, being a parent, I'm
True.
saying I am responsible for that.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them so much so comfort zone, so they do not want to go out. And that's also a great problem the industry is facing. I think their academia need to improvise. Academia need to play a very important role, make the students understand
Mm-hmm.
that spoon feeding is not possible today because of the numbers of institutes and all. You look at how best the students possibly getting degree. you know I don't know, I will be not taking any class, but i
Shay wants
i
to make
need
a point.
99%.
Shay wants to make a
Sorry.
point. I think Mrs. Shay.
Yes.
Okay, please.
So I would like to give a used case here from my college, that is
Uh-huh.
SBS Society, Sri Balaji Society, and the dean of our college. His name is Dr. Colonel Bala Subramaniam. He recently passed away. He was the only army person who got promoted from the rank of Subedar to Colonel due to his honorary contributions in the education sector. So
Mm-hmm.
what he used to do, he used to call us corporate soldiers every time. You are my corporate soldiers, because he wants his students to have attitude of the army. And our grooming was so tough in that particular 2 years. It was not a paid holiday. He told us in the initial, on the day, very first day of induction, he look, if you are coming to Balaji, it's not a paid holiday.
So how is the experience, Jack? If you can just share some of your experience, how exactly you're thinking that this is going to help the youth, because this is going to be again telecasted in YouTube as well. And I want
Of
you
course.
to help me in spreading this message to more and more students and the needy people who can understand that how exactly one can be job ready. So I
Yeah,
think
so
that's
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for the floor. So I'm so happy to join this wonderful meeting. So what I can say, it's really relevant for us as a new entrepreneur
mm-hmm.
to be participate in such kind of workshop, in order to
True,
share our own
true.
experience and to have more
Mm-hmm.
experience, as they said.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that I noticed, what I said here by Basu said to come out of the the comfort zone. So I didn't. Students should come out from the
Mm-hmm.
comfort zone, or entrepreneur. So there I didn't really catch you up. Maybe it was the
I
problem of
think
the
that is what
connection.
I can
Yep.
request Mr. Basu to highlight. Yes, Mr. Basu,
Yep.
if you can highlight on that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep. Mm.
Yes, what I said is that both that entrepreneur and also the students, what happened that students becomes the entrepreneur. So uh, entrepreneur are not something like they come from a different planet. So our student becomes the entrepreneur, and the students, if they don't come out from their comfort zone in their early age, like as I teach public speaking. So I face a lot of students, they are so afraid of speaking in front of public. And entrepreneur, no,
Yep.
they have to speak in front of the audience, they have to speak in front of the prospects. And if they are not coming out from their comfort zone in their early age, so it is very difficult in the latter age to do all these things, because that time it is very difficult to shape them. There are some exceptions, but what I feel is that what has to be done, it has to be done in the early age. So if you
I
can
would
mold.
like to ask Mr. Shrey to continue. He was sharing some anecdote. So, Mr.
All
Shrey,
right.
we are sorry for the interruption. So, let Mr. Shrey, then we'll come back
No,
for this question answers. I think this round will be more for interactions where Mr. Abhijit has also joined us. So, we'll
Yep.
just
Thank
come
you.
back. Yeah. So, Mr. Shrey,
Yeah,
please
guys.
carry on. Mr. Shrey.
uh, thank you, Mr. Das.
Yeah.
Yeah, am I audible?
You're audible, but your
Hello.
video perhaps is not on. If you can turn on the video, sir.
Yes. I have turned on my video. I don't know
Okay, sir,
why
please carry
it's
on.
not
Carry on. No
showing.
worries. Carry on. Your voice is audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So okay, great. So, regarding the coming out of the comfort zone, it's not only the responsibility of the parents; it's the responsibility of the mentors and teachers by giving them current examples. If they will give the examples from their own circle, then it will be more easily consumed by them. Because when we what our seniors used to do, they used to teach us in our college only. Look, this is what I have done in my last 2 years. I attended maximum lectures, plus I go out during on my summer interns, and as well as for the industrial trainings, to make our profiles very strong on the LinkedIn is playing a very important role nowadays in
Mhm.
providing good job and giving the entire corporate behavior. Still look around. Nowadays, what happened? I'm talking in perspective of management education, where we are studying sales management, where we are studying organization behavior, we are studying HR modules. But are we really, are the teachers really giving them what is actually happening in the corporate world? In our college, what used to happen, actual leaders used to come for the guest faculties, and they used to show us the real picture of what is happening in current corporate world, what is the trend going around. They told us what is actually life would be after your college. It's not like you will be getting a cabin, and you will be getting a cabin in the AC office and you are just controlling the team. It's not like that. You have to get dirty on the ground. You have to work around 24 by 7, whatever, in the startup world or in the initial part of your career. Because whether you are from IIT or you are from IIM, if you are not having the ground experience, you cannot scale up your into your career ladder. So this is actually what is required.
I think in
College
this
needs,
context,
yeah.
Shrey, I think the right person who is sitting is Mr. Abhijit, who can always guide us because he,
Yes.
being the director of a professional university, can tell us that what sort of initiative they are taking to bring in the industry leaders as their faculty members and how they are thinking of upgrading, upskilling, and updating the people. So what sort of
Thank
initiatives,
you.
sir, you are taking? If you can just
Thank you.
highlight
Thank
on
you.
that.
I mean, I think, yeah, as an university, we are taking couple of steps on this line. First, we have a sort of calendarized the industry speaker interactive session sectorally with the students of our university. If somebody is studying maybe computer science, so industry speakers should be lined up from the computer science. Somebody is from maybe mechanical, somebody is from MBA, somebody is from, so that's all, a synchronized line of, and that is calendarized. Every month, each one of the students should get at least one lecture or get an opportunity to spend time formally and informally with the industry leader. That is number one. Second, what we made is, I personally feel, and eventually we have seen this is a very important gap, whether our academic teams are really ready with the current trend, current technology, current habit, current behavior, culture of the industry. If they are not ready with that, they are ready with 20 years before note, 20 years before project, 20 years before probably some of the books, I mean theoretical skill and knowledge. Essentially, that is important. But on top of that, what is the present trend? If they do not are aware about this thing, probably they are not able to motivate the students inside of the class. So what we did is, we made it mandatory that every professor has to go to the industry for a month for understanding the industry based practices. Every professor, be it a dean or be it a assistant or associate professor, it's a mandatorily need to go to the industry for a month during their academic break. It's a paid, university paid initiatives. University is paying for that. They need to go and they need to be associated with some industry, look and see how the industry is functioning, what is their cultural change is happening, what kind of technology they are taking, what kind of integration they are doing, what kind of behavioral changes they are looking, and what kind of personality they are actually looking for to combat the present competitive global business scenario, so that they can actually come back and give a bit of piece of that delivery in the classroom. So this is the second initiatives that we took. Third initiatives that we have already made it mandatory, irrespective of during our time, we know the engineering graduates or probably the management graduates probably need to go to the internship. But from our university, we made it a mandatory, irrespective of the stream, even if you are studying probably cultural or probably arts or probably something else, maybe the commerce, it is mandatory that you need to do at least 2 months of your internship, minimum 8 weeks. It's a credit internship is a mandatory. That means even if you are studying history honors, or even if you are studying history or probably English literature, you need to be associated with some of the organization or research institute to understand what is happening into that domain in the recent, and inculcated that practice into you. So these are the couple of things: internship, professors internship, students internship, then industry guest lecture, which is also we made it a mandatory. And third is constantly we are what we do is we are integrating the industry leader in our academic board. We are putting up the industry leader in our academic board. They are going to be part of the board so that they can give a right suggestion in the curriculum, what kind of skill set is required. Let me take a small example. I can still remember during my MBA time, even in IIM, there was something called set theory, which used to taught in my MBA program.
Right.
But set theory, I learned in even class 8 or 9 during my 8 or 9 time. Now, what is the new in the set theory that to be taught in even MBA? Nothing new. Nothing new to taught there. So instead of set theory, what is new I can add in the latest MBA syllabus? Probably the students can get more ready
Interest
towards the industry requirement. So these are the couple of 4-5 bullet points that I can, many things that we are doing, but of course these 4-5 bullet points are very important.
Thank you.
Another
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
point, please go ahead.
Last important point I would like to add: we have introduced a concept called interdisciplinary project or interdisciplinary approach in the concept of major and minor. That means if I'm a student of computer science, I'm studying computer science as a major paper, but I can be part of the project probably taken up by the School of Law and Justice, or rather probably law students. How can I contribute my knowledge of the major paper in the project of law student of their major paper, and I'm going to be the minor paper there, or I'm going to be the minor contributor there? That means I'll earn the knowledge, or I will earn the knowledge of law in the form of security or in the form of digital era from them, whereas I'm going to give my major strength of technology to the law student, how they can use the technology into the law practice or legal practice. So this concept is actually helping the students, and this is being mentored by the industry people. So this concept is helping the students to explore themselves beyond their limited syllabus, probably something which is not part of their syllabus, but they should actually know it. And I think these are a couple of things that we are constantly doing, and we are seeing the improvement. We are seeing the improvement. If I look at in last 3-4 years, I'm seeing the great improvement into this line of thought.
Thank you, sir, so much. Like, I would really request Mr. Sanjeet or maybe Mr. Shea to come on more, and then after that, I would request our viewers, our audience, like Mr. Venus is there, who is basically from automobile industry. He has been patiently listening. His son is in engineering. So maybe as a parent, if you have any question, because our panel is there today, and we also have students like Mohana, and then Mr. Jack is an entrepreneur, even Mr. Aro who is listening, even a language trainer like Mr. Leonard is also here. So if they have any questions, please feel free to ask our speakers today, because they are here to, create the awareness. They are here to give us the information, and of course to help us understand better that how we can make the young generation, the Generation Z, to be industry ready and job ready. So if you can, please put up your questions. You are free to ask your questions. Yes, Mr. Venus, please go ahead.
Am I audible to you, sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir. Dr. Das, thank you very much for this webinar, first of all. And especially the speakers, including yourself, the way you conducted the things, the Giri Saab, Basu Saab, and Shrey Saab. It's really nice. In 20 years of our automobiles, I have faced many challenges in terms of finding the right skill, especially on the technical side. So, as you are all aware, that the entire scenario is changing from uh, internal combustion engine, IC engine, to the electrical engines. I'm perceiving that it is a very challenging time for us to come to find the right kind of skill set. And especially my question to Abhijit Saab, ki Saab, in your institute, when you're, I'm just being specific for the automobiles because I'm from the automobiles for 22 years. What you are perceiving, that what skill you want to get developed, or how you are going to train your professors. I'm sorry to say, but all the times during my right from my college to management, I've seen that I don't want to say the word incompetencies, but I feel like you are you have been taught the set theory that is adding to the new things are coming. So everything is pressure is piling up on the students that purana bhi padho, naya bhi padho, और जो नया हो रहा है वो भी पढ़ो. So it is just piling up on the student. Are you planning to remove the certain things back and adding something new to reduce the pressure on the student? Number one. Number two, how about adaptability of the professors? Because with all due respect, professors are teaching the same things from last 15 years. It is difficult for them even after getting to the industry and getting inculcated to the new knowledge, because learning process is the academic learning process and then the actual learning process when you are working. But professors are usually having the monotonous kind of thing. So how you are going to
So I think he's highlighting on the trainer part, that what exactly we're doing to
train the trainer part. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. How to upgrade the trainers,
Exactly.
how to upgrade the professor, so that we can see that these people are gearing up the new generation in the right direction. I think already he said, but I think Mr. Abhijit can highlight more on that.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Vinas. I mean, raising up this question. First of all, yes, we are not believing in the piling up of the syllabus. If we feel that something is probably taught in our elementary time, in probably in class 9 or 10 or 11 or 12, essentially which is not very important in the higher education to go in depth of that subject, we do not want to keep into our syllabus on that subject. We want to add something which is essentially very important at this moment of time when the students are actually approaching to the industry. So we would like to focus more on that. That is number one. As I said in the beginning, of course, we are not compromising to ensure the fundamentals of the subject is going to be strong and going to be given the complete emphasis on that. So we don't believe the piling up and giving the new things and, students are going to be bombarded and they are going to be overloaded. We don't believe that. So that is number one. Number two, sending professor for internship or training or so on and so forth, which is more of hands-on and practical, it's a tough job. Yes. I can remember the kind of fight I need to fought maybe around a couple of years before when I entered into the higher education. It is a mammoth job because it is not only a matter of investment of money, it is something changing the mindset, satisfying the fat ego of the professors and changing them to take it off, unlearn, learn, relearn. This mindset they talk theoretically many times in the classroom, but they themselves don't follow this. So Correct. Changing mindset is a mammoth task for all of us.
Yes.
Yes, we counsel them, we make them understand slowly. That is number one. Number two, what we did is in the performance appraisal system itself, we integrate all these parameters. Okay. We said that if you are going for the industry training or industry, this thing of 1 month, if you can submit that you have done this training and all these things, you will be getting X weightage into your performance appraisal.
Yeah,
So we made a
Mr.
mandatory
Sanjit
into the
wants
permanent.
to Mr. Sanjit wants to like go for some another meeting. But before you go, sir, we have a question for you. Our question to you is like, what exactly do you think is like the part for the trainers? Like you being a trainer, you are actually teaching so many students. You are going to many companies, many colleges. What exactly do you see is the scenario there? Do you see there is a change of mindset which Mr. Giri has said? What is your view? Do you think that the trainers are really changing with the changing pattern or the pattern of education? What exactly is their way of thinking? Or maybe you,
Yeah,
because you have been
yeah,
teaching for 22 years.
yeah, definitely. Definitely there has been a change in the training pattern, but still, the area I live, it's not a very big area. The colleges are not that big, but the way of teaching are still, they are not upgrading, to be very frank, because the thing is that they are not learning the new things, what is happening in the industry. They are
Correct.
reluctant to learn. So this is
Mm-hmm.
the one point, I would like to, if there is any professor or teachers are there. So learning is something, which is never ending process. One has to learn every day. Every single day is a learning.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if the teachers, professor, they think that no, what they have learned in their school days, college days, and that is what they are going to teach now. So this is not going to happen. So one has to learn every day. And as
How
Mr.
you're
Giri said,
equipping yourself? You being a trainer, how you're actually conditioning yourself and how you upgrade yourself? If you can just give us some information on that.
yeah, what I do basically, I have been into continuous learning process. Every single day I learn something new. And
Mm-hmm.
how I learn, because right now it is online facilities there. You can join any session around the world, it, and there is no cost also. So without paying any single penny, one can learn a lot of things. I join
Or
so
maybe
many
if you are paying, it's a
webinars,
very
but
negligible amount. Even
yeah,
if you
it
are
is a
paying,
very
it's a very
negligible amount.
negligible amount. Yeah.
Negligible amount. And also there are many webinars are being conducted by the renowned professors, renowned educators around the
Mm-hmm.
world. So one can join those sessions and one can learn a lot of things from them. So,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is that one has to have the mindset, or the growth mindset, you can say, that every single day I'm going to learn something new, and that
Mm-hmm.
thing I'm going to pass on to my students. I'm going to pass on to my, anybody. So this is very, very important. Learning is very, very important. What I feel.
Thank you, sir.
Without,
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to turn it to Mr. Joshi now. Mr. Joshi, if you can just tell, like, what exactly is your understanding? Like, is you are running your own organization as corporate sales? What exactly are the challenges do you see? Do you really find that these are the challenges are somehow getting resolved with these advices, or this particular initiative of doing this kind of webinar where we are trying to discuss that what exactly youngsters should do, or someone who is a career aspirant, not necessarily he has to be a student. I'm suppose looking for a job. I don't know what exactly I should do or what changes I should bring in my CV so that I can land up in my next job, right? So whether it is soft skill trainer like Mr. Basu, or there are educationists like Mr. Giri, or there are entrepreneurs like Mr. Shreya who can help. So Mr. Shreya, what do you exactly think, or maybe our other speakers, if you can highlight?
Yes, very relevant question, Mr. Das. And so, as Mr. Abhijit recently mentioned that he is into the continuous improvement process, and there are other many motivational speakers who used to say that if you are improving by 0.01% every day of every year, at the end of the year you will be rewarded with, you will be a completely changed man. And it is nowadays eminently it's inevitable nowadays. If you are not changing, if you are learning, you will be redundant very soon. I have come across many people in their 40, when they reach this age of 40, they are suffering from midlife crisis. They are worried about the family, and on the same part they are worried how, because they are not able to manage, cope up the pressure,
Mm-hmm.
because they are not upgrading themselves as per the industrial requirements. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a very big gap. In their current jobs they are not getting the time to upgrade themselves. And you are asking a very relevant question regarding the students. So in perspective of a
I
student,
have
I
one
would like to say
student
that it
here.
is the,
I have one
yeah.
student here in this forum. Her name is Mohana. So, Mohana, if you are audible, if you can really hear us, can you ask questions if you have it in mind? If you are really interested, maybe some of our speakers, if you want to ask.
Well, the first and foremost thing which I would just like to say is this complete session is a session which is really very much informative, and there is a lot to take from this. And yeah, all my questions are getting answered without even questioning. So I'm just here listening to you all and getting a lot of knowledge in the process. So yeah, I'm just liking to listen it all throughout.
Okay, stay tuned. Stay
Thank
tuned.
you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Joshi, please carry on.
Yes. So I would recommend every, management college or engineering college, that they should have one, one course for maintaining the LinkedIn profile. Nowadays, portals like Naukri, Shine, they won't give you relevant job opportunities like LinkedIn is doing, because on LinkedIn it's a complete unlock of global leaders across the world. And if you are getting connected with them and you are learning what the other people are doing, uh, people are getting job on the LinkedIn itself, and they are making money. So since, if you are a person who is looking to to enter into the corporate world, you should have a LinkedIn presence from the day one of your college. So this particular syllabus should be introduced in our courses, just like digital marketing is right now
Mhm.
there for everyone. LinkedIn should be specifically introduced, because LinkedIn is not a, it's not a just a social site. It's a
Mhm.
very professional site. And through this, in my personal experience also, when I was in Sony, uh, Amazon was coming in India, and the entire landscape is getting changed. So I got my job after, from my second company. I got all the jobs from LinkedIn, and I used to do business from it also, because you will get everyone over there who is
I have
serious,
here
who is more
one
smart.
point. I have here one point. Like I can
Yes.
definitely understand your experience. Of course, it's very interesting. But here we also have one HR, Mr. Leonard, who is listening very carefully. Mr. Leonard, for your information, we have Mr. Sanjit also here. Sometime you ask me. He's Mr. Sanjit, and he's also a language trainer. He teaches English and you teach French, right? But you speak English. So I would like to know that what exactly would be your question today, either to Mr. Shea, who just right now said that how important is to take help of the various digital platform and the opportunities, and how to, develop as a student or as a careerist. At the same time, you being an HR and like people like Mr. Sanjit, how exactly you think this is going to help, and what exactly is the role of a language or communication skill in that? Because today virtual world is very active, and both of you are really involved in training people. So what exactly are your views? Yes, Mr. Leonard.
The question I would normally ask is about the reality that we are facing here in DRC. Do
Mm-hmm.
you see that here in our country we don't have many uh, universities which are normally preparing students who could normally work at the level of industries? Then, for example, now an expatriate came here in our country, but since he will also go on with the same students who have been at university, but they didn't learn much knowledges at the level of industries. Then what will he do for this situation normally, because the reality is there, but he should work with Congress people? That's the question.
That's a very relevant question, in fact. If I just want to add more what exactly wanted to ask, he basically have just said it's a very burning question in most of the African nations, that today a lot of expatriates are really coming in the country without even having the relevant skill sets, or maybe they are basically not really a match for the people of the nation. Unfortunately, our time is coming to an end, but we have 9 minutes, 56 seconds almost. So I think somebody can answer this. Please go ahead. Yes, yes, Mr. Venus. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. See, this is very relevant question because I have been in Africa for like 15, 16 years,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something relevant thing. We bring out the expertise into our organization, into our different sections, technical and non-technical, and other places. And down the line, we also realize that just because of they are having the expatriate badge or they are having some work experience in India, that didn't work into the country itself, in the respective
Mm-hmm.
country. Especially in terms of African nations, one has to understand that the culture is different. There should be definitely new things happening in terms of the linguistic things,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
processes, the government
Mm-hmm.
proceedings, and main thing is how to tackle with the local people, because eventually the person who is an expatriate or the local who's on the little bit on the managerial level, he has to manage the team, and team is always consisting of both the kind of people with the local and the
And to
expertise.
add on with what you said, Mr. Venus, right now the geopolitical situation is also changing, because if you see in the entire Africa that there are different incidences happening, whether you talk about the recent problem which is coming up in Niger, or the problem which has recently happened maybe even countries like Rwanda or Guinea. So there are problems coming up. Even in Senegal also some disturbances going on. So people are becoming anti foreign nationals, like people are not having the same sentiment which the people used to have in earlier times. So of course this is a burning question, but we have to understand that we should do something really considerable, and sustainable model has to be built, collaborative model has to be built, which I think people like Mr. Giri or Mr. Shea can always focus on that how exactly we can make the model more sustainable, more collaborative, so that the youngsters who are coming, they can really be benefited. Yes, Mr. Giri?
Yeah, yeah. This is of course. See, let me tell you a couple of points. Being a student, or maybe from the industry perspective, also until unless it is not a very large scale industry, I think it's very difficult to even the uh, political situation of any country, or even the geopolitical situation. The things are not in our control. In spite of this unfortunate part, I mean, we are living in a probably in a world, probably none of our forefathers, or none of our ideal to whom we probably is aspire to become our ideal also. I mean, they never thought of the world that we are living today.
True.
Unfortunate part. However, within that space, I think interconnection, sharing of knowledge. I appreciate that you are sitting in Dubai, you are connecting people in India or Africa or some other part of the world. I think this kind of approach can help in many ways of the students community. The students community should not be restricted in a domestic world of a particular country or a particular subject or a particular culture. They should be opened up with a skill and knowledge of the different culture. They should be in a position to appreciate the skill and knowledge, culture of everything, economy, everything of the different countries, even the geopolitical. I think we don't want the present geopolitical situation that you are mentioning. We don't want that. Who can make the change?
True.
The students out of the community is going to be the future of this world.
Absolutely.
They should realize, and if they can be nurtured by us, those who do not want this world, probably, I mean, this kind of conflict world, probably we can actually nurture them, make them their mindset ready. Look, today what happened. You may be the change factor for the tomorrow's geopolitical situation.
True.
I think that nourishment, and you are doing a fantastic job in that way.
Thank you.
Connecting
Thank
people of the like-minded across the world. I think that is how it should be. That is how it should be.
Mr. Jack, if you have any question to one of the entrepreneur who is also an entrepreneur, Mr. Shrey Joshi, you can free to ask. Mr. Joshi, the question for you coming from Mr. Jack.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I really appreciate, and I really appreciate the system. So the education system in India, so which brings the link between students and the industry. So it's very nice because our professors are going to the industry to get more experience and come back to teach students. So that system, we don't have it in Africa. So unfortunately, we don't have it in Africa. So students are learning theory, but once it comes for the work, it's very tough for them, and I have to train them again. So what I have to do? So we don't really get much time. We don't have time a lot. Well, because when students are coming, we are just taking them because of maybe speaking knowledge or speaking skills. So
Mm-hmm.
their way of speaking, writing, and data. But for other stuff like so in professional world, they don't really understand it. They don't master it because what they're learning and what they are doing, so it's totally different. But I
Different.
think so what I can ask you as a professors, so you should be joining some meeting like this one, so
Mm-hmm.
that we can also have knowledge like this in order to
Right.
share to other people, because we know that it's not only here. We are not going to stay just here in Congo, working just in Africa, but we'll be going outside of the country, around the world. We'll be working there. Youth will be working around the country. So I really appreciate what you have done today, and I really took note, and I'm going to share it with some guys too. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Mr. Joshi, if you have any such ideas to be
Thank you,
shared.
Jack.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have. Since Mr. Jack told every one of us there are limitations in his country, so
Mm-hmm.
it's really wonderful with the penetration of internet. They have to upgrade themselves automatically, uh, uh, because there is no such another means. And persons like Jack and other people should empower his upcoming generations. They must teach to their generation how to upgrade themselves and how to get better day by day. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a collective responsibility of the entire citizens of his country and their senior leadership to make them aware these kind of stuff. And I'm leaving it to you, Mr. Das, since only 2 minutes are remaining, and
Exactly.
leaving it to you. And
Thank you. Thank you so much for your quick inputs. I'm really thankful to all of you for making this interaction so lovely and so vibrant. I would last to ask some question, maybe to Mr. Aro or Mr. Leonard. What do you think is the relevance of this kind of initiative? Do you think that this kind of initiative in future we should carry on, which is really going to create some awareness, or maybe student like Mohana, or maybe parent like Mr. Venus, an industry expert like Mr. Venus, even Mr. Giri and Mr. Joshi? Do you think, what exactly is your point of view? Do you think this kind of initiative is going to really help the community on a larger level?
From my
Normally,
point of view,
Okay.
please
sorry.
carry on.
Yeah, please carry on. Carry on, carry on.
Yes.
From my point of view, Dr. Das, I think such initiatives is always welcome, and we should come out with not only the futuristic part. I think somewhere or down the line, we should connect these kind of initiatives with a theme, with our historical, I would say that, the good moment that we have.
True.
Uh,
Agreed.
that connect probably is going to make the people, more relevant to cope
And
up with
more
the future.
involved.
That is now.
Like every good thing comes to an end. So we are also very close to the end of our session. And I'm going to really just say a positive thing that we are really going to come back with such initiative again and again, because our initiative is basically for the betterment and the welfare of our career fraternity. And I'm sure, like those who are watching this program, they would realize that how useful this talk was. We would really love to have these speakers once again in our other webinar, and I'm sure like we would keep listening to them for more and more time. But due to the paucity of time, we have to leave this session. But I'm really thankful to all of our speakers today for their invaluable talk, for sharing their knowledge, which was so informative. And I'm sure this information is going to be very helpful for us, for our audience who are watching this program. And this kind of initiative is only going to give a message that we should always remain upbeat. We should always focus on our future, and we should make sure that how we can really prepare ourselves for the future days to come, how exactly we can make ourselves more sharper and more competent for the new challenges. Thank you so much. That's all for now. We'll meet again for one such webinar in the next week.